I got to talk. I got to tell what I feel. I got to talk about my life as I see it.
Wiggy.
Wiggy, 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 can't you see?
Tremaine Wiggins has an opinion on everything.
Marathon runners. Athletes?
No.
Aliens?
I don't believe in them.
How about the Spanish Civil War?
You know, they thought it was a war that really didn't need to be fought.
Shit only Wiggy can think of. It's Wiggy's World.
Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome to Wiggy's World, episode 2. I got my man, producer Mark, that's always with me.
What up?
I got my boy, Black Caesar, in the building, a.k.a. Leroy. And you know what? We have an episode that is gonna blow your motherfucking socks off. Last episode, we talked about my life, my journey, growing up as a kid. But we now have a very special guest joining us. That is right. My wife is going to be here talking about all the shit we dealt with being in the NFL and if she even wanted to be with me. Yo, that right now. We got my wife, Tallena.
Hello.
Yes, decided show. You don't have to hit no buttons.
I didn't know. Everybody else's button was on red. I'm like, let me push this.
Yeah, you don't have to hit no buttons. So, yes, my wife is on, and she has the open door policy. So,
Right, so she's going to be on a lot, I got a feeling.
yeah, whenever she chooses.
We'll see.
When we do our Does Dick Size Matter episode, I would hope that you would be here for that.
It matters.
she will be here for that.
Save that hot take.
Yeah.
So we left off last, you were at UGA right before the NFL, but we got to
Right.
rewind a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
When you met your wife, and that was a little bit before.
It was at Marshall.
At Marshall, okay.
Yes.
So, what happened that made that he did that swept you off your feet, if that even happened?
He didn't sweep me off my feet, actually. Initially.
Awesome,
Like
perfect.
you know, it's one of those love stories where you say love at first sight, this and the other. Everything happened fast for us, but it wasn't. He didn't sweep me off my feet initially.
I want to literally go back to like the first time you saw each other.
Okay.
Like literally what happened.
Let's see how she tells her story.
Okay.
And we're gonna
Compared to your story.
Yes, compared to my story.
Okay.
Mind you, people, Wiggy right now is all smiles.
I'm always
Right. She's blushing.
I do. Even though you can't see the blush because I'm not as dark as my wife. But,
Oh, really?
no, but I love dark chocolate though.
Okay. No, Jermaine used to be around a lot, but I just kind of like, my cousins all like went to college before me, you know, don't mess with athletes, horror stories, whatever. And I had a boyfriend. So,
Why not mess with athletes?
because I had a lot of friends that messed around with athletes and they were always known to cheat.
Yeah.
A lot of them, you know, got beat up by their boyfriends that were athletes, like a lot of
Damn.
different things. So I didn't want to be a part of that, you
Right.
know. So, you know, I was focused. I'm going to school. I had a boyfriend, but that was, you know, he was back home. So I was breaking up with him. This is around Thanksgiving break, my
Why were you
first
breaking
year.
up with him?
Because it was a long distance relationship. I couldn't see him. I couldn't
it
see him.
never
No, this
works.
is serious. Yeah, you could. It doesn't work. So I'm like,
Right.
you know, I'm
And when she
concentrating
says
on
long
sports.
distance, she means like an hour.
It was like 2
40
hours
minutes.
away. We couldn't see each other. He worked. He was in school.
Okay.
I was in school. Whatever. So the weekend before Thanksgiving break, 1995.
That's right. It was a good
We're-
year.
yeah.
Biggie.
We're at a house party, and you know, I'm down there shooting the shit with my friends, and Jermaine came down, and he's like, "Oh, you know, how you doing?" He offered me a drink. I took a drink. I'm like, "Look at this."
Can you paint the picture of him in '95? We're like,
walking down with a freaking hoodie, sweatpants, one leg up, Timbo'd
oh
out.
my
That's
God.
what it was.
Hat to the back. You know,
Those
so
were the good old days. You remember one jean leg up?
Right.
Jeez, I know you remember one leg
Right,
up with the Timbos. Yeah, I was, she, you know, because we went to school at Marshall, which is in West Virginia, and that's where she's from. So me being from Boston, which the Northeast, it was like that was the swagger in '95. You know, that was what we did. Biggie, Wu-Tang. We try to emulate that that style.
Right. So here he comes, one pant leg up.
yeah, like, you know, he upstairs because they're gambling.
Okay.
They're shooting dice. So all of the guys are upstairs, right?
Okay.
So he comes down to get something to drink. He's like, "How you doing?" You know, he walked up on me. You know, "You want something to drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." He, you know, he all up on me. I'm like, "Look at this geek." No, I'm just
Say
kidding.
what you want to say.
No, but you know, he was talking to me. He was like, "You going to the club later?" Because this was the house party at a football player's house, and his
Right.
name, they called him Grass. I
Right,
guess, you know,
right.
he smoked weed all the time. They
Right,
call him
right,
Grass.
right.
So we over there. So I was like, yeah, I'll see you out later. So, that was it. It happened like that. 2 seconds, he walked away.
She tricked me, though.
How?
Because when I first met her, like, she looked like I had a crush
Would you
on.
stop?
I had a crush on Toni Braxton.
Okay.
Right? And so you remember Toni Braxton with the short hair from the right around the Boomerang. When she did the soundtrack for Boomerang. Yeah. So she had that short hair and she had like these gray contact lenses.
Oh yeah, that's what you remember contacts was in Leroy now.
Right?
Remember?
So and I was like, I had a crush on Toni Braxton. And then I was like, okay, so she looks good. And then I was like, oh, she got some boots on. So I'm like thinking she from New York up top somewhere.
Yeah, and I'm like, straight from the country.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, so she's like booted out. I'm like, yo, this is, and I was like, oh damn. She tricked me with the boots. I always say to this day, I thought she was rocking Timbs. Come to find out they was what? Sketches?
Sketches. I don't know.
So, like, did you see her, like, as soon as you walked in and you made it a point?
I had been stalking her prior to that.
How?
Because I seen her across campus one day. I was walking, and I was probably 40 yards away walking across campus. Okay. And I seen her.
Yeah.
And she looked over and waved.
To you?
She waved to me.
Why?
I had on little belly shirts, little Daisy
Why were you
Dukes.
waving to him?
She waved. Tell him
because my friend was like, girl, there go Wigs. That's because they called him Big Wigs.
God.
She was like, girl, there go Big Wigs. They say Big Wigs crazy.
So she waved. So then I waved back, and I'm like, okay. So then I started doing my due diligence, you know what I mean? Okay. Talking to some of the dudes on campus.
Putting the pressure on my friends.
Putting the pressure on, like, what's good? So then I would sit behind her in the cafeteria.
Every time. And I'm like, what is this big mofo sitting behind me? Every time I would back my chair up and back into him.
And so that's kind of how I kind of,
Why did he have the reputation of being crazy?
Because Jermaine is just so
eccentric.
Yeah, something like that. Like, girls liked him, and he was just always like so vocal about, he liked, chocolate chicks, thick thighs, big booties, this and the other. But then he's biracial, so it's like, what's this?
So my family's crazy. I think that's where I get the craziness
so
from.
he gets that, it's a difference. Now that I live here, it's different. It's like, a black household, you got your sense of crazy. Italian household, you have your sense of crazy. So that's what, it was different because, he was in the South.
So, like, as he's hitting on you throughout all these weeks, right? Like, are you thinking, like, he's a creep? Or are you kind of, like, feeling it, like...
No, I'm like, nah, because he's an athlite. I ain't trying to holler at him like
this
that.
nigga, you're like, this nigga's crazy.
So then what happened? So you're at that club when actually did start kind of popping off, right? When you guys started really talking more?
Yeah.
And so, like, how did you go from, I'm not fucking with athletes, to being married to one?
I know.
Well, tell them what was happening at the club. What was you doing?
Out there whining.
She was out there dancing, and then what happened?
He came up to me, was dancing with me.
Okay.
So we dancing, this and the other. We started talking and stuff, and I said, he was a cool dude, but he still, I was leaving the next day, going home, and I'm like, listen, I have a boyfriend, this and the other. And he was like, listen, I want to be with you. He had this chain, like this thick chain with what was on
I think it was a cross on
a cross or something, like, hey, I want you to take my chain. I'm like, what? Like, it was
my territory too.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay. So I took his chain. I went home the next day.
Yes.
Yeah, I took his chain.
So I told everybody, like, I did my due diligence, because the first thing that I had to make sure that we had this book back in college, and she wasn't in the book. Right. So I had to make sure, and the book was like, it was like a lot of girls. They would take pictures of girls, now, and they put pictures of them in the book.
All the athletes. This is what the football players would do. They would record it. This is 95.
No, it wasn't scandalous.
Yes, it was scandalous. 1995. They would record girls. They would take pictures of girls. But they were in the book. The girls didn't know.
Wow,
they didn't know. So
nowadays,
but
I never had anything. I'm a young buck, so I'm learning about the book as I come.
I was gonna say.
So I never really had.
He in the book.
No, I never had anything about the book. It was just like, oh damn, okay. Now you like, yo. Like, okay, this one's a real grimy hoe, whatever.
Listen,
that's kind of.
It was a football player's book, so if it's a Friday night, you lonely, slide through.
Right.
That's it.
And so, but she wasn't in the book, so then I knew.
In no book.
I knew, like, yo, and like I said, I told all the guys, I was like, yo, don't nobody mess with her. That's my girl.
He did.
Literally told everybody. And then when I left, I said, hey, keep an eye on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you looking for like a relationship, or you just wanted at that point you didn't know?
No, I was like once I
Tell the truth.
Once I saw her, I was like, that's gonna be my girl.
No, he told me later, years after we were married.
Did I?
What did you say?
What'd I say?
I was gonna be your main girl.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
But I mean, main meant like, like my wife.
Right,
That's
right.
type deal. It was like, yo, this
Right.
is who I was bringing home to meet moms.
Right.
And I did bring her home to meet
Yeah,
my
you
mother.
did.
Right.
So, and that
Wow,
was
that
kind
must've been
of,
something.
it was crazy because, like I said, I had been checking for her and
Right.
like keeping her, and I asked a couple of friends about her, and
Yeah.
and that's kind of how it goes.
So then you got the chain, and then afterwards, what happened? You guys just started like
Yeah.
you came back. You guys just
Yeah, I
started hanging
came
out
back.
more?
We started hanging out. I told him I
Right.
broke up with my boyfriend. He like, good, he a loser. He da da da. He don't
How
even know the
much of
dude.
meeting him influenced you breaking up with your boyfriend?
Tell the
Was
truth.
it like was it
yeah.
like the straw that broke the camel's back?
Yeah, it was like the straw that broke the camel's
Wow.
back.
Hopefully
It
that
was.
dude's not listening.
No, I
Yeah.
mean
He's all
he's like, you see him around every now and then. I think he's
do?
married. Yeah, I think he's
Yeah,
married.
he's
yeah,
married.
but that one lost love, that
Yeah.
one
I
love that
know.
got
Well,
away every time. He
Well, that's
sees
what
you.
happens when a motherfucker that flies in and like Superman, and it's like, okay, here you go. I just take
Right,
her
right.
away. It is what it is.
So then, how far after that did you leave to go to
Georgia.
Months.
Was it months?
Yeah,
It was months.
We only dated from the time of us
95.
meeting until we got
The
married. It was
summertime.
like 11 months. We only dated like 11
So now,
months.
where are you in your college career? Are you wrapping it up?
No,
are
she's
you?
still-
No,
Yeah,
I was a
Marshall.
freshman. I
You're
met
a
him.
freshman?
I was a freshman
Wait,
when
so
I met him.
So did you go with him?
I ended up
Eventually.
going with him. Eventually I did.
When we met in 95, it was like around October in that area there.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to Georgia
The following year.
But I ended up going down there the summer of 96. So here it is 95. The new
Right.
year comes, it's 96. I go to Georgia for training camp,
Right.
96, which is however 6-7 months later.
Yep.
And she's still at Marshall.
Right.
And she's still there kind of for that. What were you there for that first semester?
Yeah, and then I transferred
Right.
out and went to Georgia.
Now, did that long distance, hey, I don't know if this is going to work out because it didn't work out with the ex.
Yeah.
Did that come into play?
Absolutely.
Was that on your mind?
That's what I
Georgia?
told him when he first got the call. The coach told him that him and another teammate
Olandis,
will be going
running
to
back.
Georgia. And I told him, like, we wasn't even, we were just new in a relationship anyway. So I told him, I was like, listen, my family. He was like, I'm moving to Georgia. The coach is transferring me out. You should come down, transfer. We'll get a house together. We'll get an apartment. What? And I'm like, listen, my family was so religious. I said, listen, I can't live with you. I can't. I said, what we're gonna do is we're gonna break up. We'll be friends. I'll come see you sometime. You can come see me. We're gonna be friends, right?
Did you
And
cry
so,
when you
No,
like saying
I'm
this?
not a
Did you
crier.
No, was he?
yeah,
saying, "Man."
probably. No, he didn't cry.
inside.
But so we were in his room, and he was telling me, and just he had a look of disappointment on his face, and I told him, I said, we'll just be friends. It's cool. So I'm leaving out.
I would pay $1,000 to have a picture of that face.
Yeah, it was that cute little face.
Oh,
We don't get to see emotion ever.
Yeah.
So
get the tissue.
what happened?
So I was walking out of the room, right, and I had on these little, Guess jeans back in the day. They were expensive,
Yep,
right?
yep, right.
So I had these little jeans on. I'm walking out, and he grabbed me with 2 fingers, the back of my jeans, and when he grabbed me with the 2 fingers, my freaking pocket tore. And I'm like, why you? My mother's gonna kill. Why you? These are my best jeans. This and the other. He was like, listen. He was like, I want you to be my girl. I want to be with you. I want you to move down and think about it. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. Whatever. I go back to my room. And I'm there for 30 minutes. The phone rings, and my roommate's like, it's Jermaine. Here he go. So I get on the phone. Yeah, it wasn't long. And he was like, did you think about it? I'm like, nah. It's like, I feel
30 minutes?
It wasn't long.
I don't
I'm telling you,
remember that.
I just walked from his dorm to mine, which were right adjacent to
Right.
each other. And he said, he was like, think about it. And I didn't think about it. He was like, listen, if you don't want to be with me, that's fine. The choice is up to you. Think about it and take it into consideration. He's like, because if you're not with me, I just feel like you're going to miss out on the opportunity of a lifetime.
Oh my God.
That's called pimp shit right there.
Yeah, he did.
I just about got out my chair. I was about to give him doubt for that.
He
one.
did.
That's a good one. I'm about to write that down.
He did. So I was like, what? I was like, all right, whatever. I'll think about it. I hung up. But it always made me think. So
that particular sentence?
Just him saying that right there made me think. Because other than that.
Now, did you have any idea that he might get into the NFL?
No, there were no prospects.
Okay, so he said, I like the journey of a lifetime, whatever. But in reality, it could have been like he could have been at fucking McDonald's.
Stop and shop.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
we would talk about our dreams and aspirations, and I wanted to be a child psychologist, and he was going to be a police officer. That's what it was. So I went downstairs that evening, like in my lobby, just bullshitting with my friends, and he came over, and I think it was at that moment that I really did, I was thinking about that, and then I could see that he really cared for me, like he was serious. He meant every word that he said. And then he sat me on.
She gonna cry.
I'm gonna
No,
cry. I can't even believe that's
Yeah.
you. I can't believe you're talking about the same person.
Yeah.
So then, when did you leave to join him?
That following year,
Right.
he came back. He came to Boston. He worked all that summer. He worked at the airport, driving buses.
Buses in Elmo.
So you were a sophomore in college, and you left.
Yeah.
Did you finish school?
No, I ended up
So
not
you fucking left school.
Let me tell you what happened. This was my plan. This is how I got all off track. I'm moving to Atlanta.
Yep.
I'm going to go to school there. I had to, you got to wait 6 months for residency. I'm going to go to school down there.
Yeah.
I moved there, and that's what's going to happen. Well, damn it, I got pregnant. We were pregnant. We were married. We were pregnant. What are you going to do?
All ends.
Yep. And then, stop.
No, I just had a kid. Sorry.
Like,
This is over.
so, I mean, everything is off track. So I'm like, okay, and then I was so sick. I was really sick during the whole pregnancy. So that happened. And then after we had her, we had no family there. So I was very nervous about putting her into a daycare. You don't know who to trust. We're young. And my mother was like, just send the baby to me. And I'll watch the baby. You go ahead and finish school.
Well, she said that?
My mother said that. My mother, remember, she would always come and get Kita.
Yeah, I mean, she'd always come.
Yeah, and I mean, I just felt like that wasn't my mother's responsibility. That's mine, and I like to take responsibility for, take care of my responsibility. So I dealt with that. I worked at Kita's daycare. I would take classes back and forth, this, that, and the other, trying to get it. And then he ended up going into the NFL. There was no prospect. Right. There was nothing.
Now, was there a time when, from being in college, in between being in college and going to the NFL, where going to the NFL wasn't exactly like a automatic thing?
Yeah.
And you have a baby, your family's growing and whatnot. Did you have any family members or friends whispering anything
Absolutely.
in your ear of negativity and you need to do this and you need to do
like, you listen, get your degree because, he probably going to get into the NFL. He going to be cheap. He going to be with somebody else.
Oh, so that athlete thing never really went away.
It never went away.
Okay.
People stay stuff to this day. Like,
like all this shit is finding out now. Who specifically
said those things? So we can get them on the phone and say.
No, but I just feel like, if my family members, especially the women in my family, were trying to protect me because you do. And still to this day, it's obvious. You hear negativity about athletes all the time. But he was different. Did you ever get that
sense from him, though? That he was fucking around?
No. Nobody's perfect. We're not perfect, but, the relationship is what it is. Like, we love each other unconditionally, and that's just what it is, you know.
And when I went to the league, it was basically her and I and our daughter. So we was just and there was no guarantee, because I wasn't drafted, so I was undrafted, and I remember signing with the Jets when I got my opportunity, and so then I had to leave them and go to New York for training camp and figuring out, knowing that they were coming with me once I got settled into New York, and we lived in a hotel. You know what I mean? We didn't have.
So maybe we can save that for part 3 when we get into the real behind the scenes. Once you're into the league, I still want to figure out or just not figure out, just fucking talk about right before you got in there. So now you're in Georgia too. You're doing your shit. You have a kid, and then what's going on with your football career at that point?
Well, I'm training for like the NFL. I'm training for like the Combine Pro Day when the scouts, because fortunately for me, when I was at Georgia, transferring to Georgia, like there were a lot, Champ Bailey was coming out as well.
Okay.
And Champ Bailey was like, top rated corner. He was going like top 10, top 5 in that range. And so what that did was that allowed me to know that all these scouts were going to come to our pro day. Yeah. So I was training my ass off, and she knows because, she would come watch me train and bring our daughter, and I would be training and running and lifting and all this other shit. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm just trying to get in.
Right.
If I can get drafted in the 7th round, great. But if not, if I can just sign with somebody. And I remember we sat out at the playground in that apartment we lived at one time, and we kind of talked a little bit about, okay, I ended up signing with the Jets, and they sent me like $1,500 for a signing bonus.
Yeah.
And then back then, to me, that was like fucking 15 grand.
Yeah.
No, I know that I made it, but it was like, whoo, shit, you know what I mean? This is good money.
Right. So,
can I just ask this one question? Because I think it's important. In part 1, when we were talking about you in sports, you, in my opinion, you gave the impression that it wasn't really a big deal. I was more of a basketball player than anything. Was having a wife and a baby, was that the moment where you said, okay, let me really go after pursuing this NFL career? Or did something happen before that when you realized this is your love? No,
like I had like love for the game. I loved playing it, but the NFL was something that was it was a reality in the sense where I had an opportunity to try to make a team, but I didn't think that I could actually make a team. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha, yep.
So my training was like, okay, all I want is somebody to give me a chance. If they give me a chance, I can prove myself. I know I could do it. But I was like, is somebody going to give me that opportunity? And so I was always thinking to myself, like, okay, if I don't do it, then I have to figure out what I was going to do. And that probably would have been like go to the police academy and that kind of thing. But when I got the opportunity with the Jets, what that did was now it kept me in there. So even when I got cut from the Jets at the end of training camp, it was not like, all right, I'm going to become a police officer. It was still like, I remember the coach at the time would say, hey, still work out, because we might give you a call to bring you back on the practice squad. So when you go to the NFL, it's kind of like your life is on hold for like, especially in the beginning, if you're undrafted, for like 2 years or a year and a half, because you're trying to figure if you can get on with one team and make it. And so some guys go 3, 4, 5 years, they get on a team, they get cut, then they work out the whole season, and then they go back again. And, so that's kind of where it was.
So how long were you waiting before you actually got the call?
So training camp was in August. We went through training camp. Yep. I got cut. How long is it? Was it a couple weeks?
A couple weeks. And he told you to bring you back. So we left. We were living in a hotel
in New York.
We drove back from New York. We had this green Cavalier.
Right. And we went to Boston.
We came here. We were staying at his mother's house. Me, him, and our daughter in one room in East Boston.
My mother's house.
Room.
And my mother is an absolute maniac. So
yeah, we stayed there. And Parcells told him, he said he would bring him back, but you can never.
Yeah, you can't believe that stuff.
Say stuff like that.
Yeah. Would you have given a shit if he didn't make it?
No, because I wanted him to pursue his dreams, but who knew? Yeah.
So then you did the back and forth with the Jets. When officially were you like, I'm in the NFL, I'm on an NFL team?
When officially, when I retired. No, I never felt that way, because even when I got to the Jets, I was trying out.
Right. So did you play for the Jets that season?
No, that was my rookie year. I didn't play. I was on the practice squad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't play. I was on the practice squad.
Yep.
And they cut me, brought me back, but no one being on the practice squad, they cut guys all the time. We see it here in New England. Guys are on the practice squad. 1 week they get cut, they bring them back. It was kind of like that. But luckily, they only cut me once. Okay, so I made it through the whole season on the maybe like 10 or 11 weeks on the practice squad.
Yep.
And then the next year I came back as a Jet. And now I'm still trying to play. And then I made the team.
Yep.
the following training camp, but you have no real job security because they could just cut you
Anytime.
like that. Right. And so then I was on the team my second year. But then they ended up cutting me, and that's when I came to New England. And so, there was a...
Okay, I got you. And then you got that call from Charlie.
Well, no,
that was before?
Charlie Weiss was before when I first got into the league. That was the call. Then I got to, when I was with the Jets, I played my second season where I actually was on the team. I was like the third tight end, and I was on like special teams, and I got like little scraps here and there. But week 11, the Jets cut me.
Okay.
And then week 12... they cut me on Sunday. The Patriots picked me up on Monday.
Okay, now did you make the team right there?
Yeah, they signed me. Yeah, because I was already playing. So once they sign, you see it all the time. They sign a guy to bring him in.
And what year is that?
This is 2000.
Okay, this is the year before the Pats won the Super Bowl.
Yes, this is the year before we won the Super Bowl. The end of the 2000 season. They Jets cut me Sunday.
Yeah.
New England picks me up Tuesday. Now, we're living in New York. New England picks me up Monday. Tuesday, I'm in New England. The following Monday is a Monday night game against the Kansas City Chiefs. I catch 2 touchdowns and 4 passes.
Okay. My head's kind of spinning.
Right. There's a lot of shit.
It's
basically you went to fucking UGA, then you went to the Jets, and you ended up in New England.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Hotel to hotel.
That's a cool way to sum it up.
I just got to ask one more question.
You can ask as many questions
I know a few young ladies that are involved with athletes.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of them are like really, really serious about who they're with. I don't know if the athlete is serious about them or whatever.
Yeah.
But coming from you, can I call you Tallena?
Yeah,
or Miss?
Tallena,
Okay,
yeah.
Tallena.
Oh, you're so nice.
You never know. You know, I
the
don't
nicest brother around.
Sweet.
I gotta watch my wife around Black. He's so nice. He might be with the pipe and everything.
You got a robe on.
Right.
I'm sitting over here, and I know we've only heard a few minutes of you guys' history.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blown away. I got respect for both of you and what you've
thank you.
done and been able to accomplish. Any advice for young ladies and young men that are dealing with someone who's an athlete? What
Your
to
daughter
expect?
seen someone?
What? Who? Me?
Yeah.
No, my daughter. No. But I mean, it's just because you do, from the outside looking in, you do hear about athletes aren't this and this, that, and the third, and to see that you guys have made it.
What are we? 21 years strong?
We're 21 years strong. I mean, it depends upon the person and predicated upon the person. I think a lot of people, I have friends as well, like, when Jermaine, like, when he first got into the league, like, oh, you're so lucky, this and the other. And they were literally, quote unquote, jersey chasers. That's what they're looking for. The biggest ordeal is guys, they don't want that. Guys like to pursue, I mean, everybody's married in here. You like to pursue your woman. You want, that's the manly thing to do or whatever. It just doesn't happen like that. You can't I never thought that he was going to go to the league. I never thought, I just thought he was a nice guy, and everything, what intrigued me about him is everything that I had heard of. He was the complete opposite. He was always a gentleman. He was always respectful. Even though I put my dreams to the side to, and we created this family and we were married and things like that. He, even though I gave, he gave as well. Mm-hmm. And even with him pursuing his dream, it was never just his dream. He's in the forefront. It was always our dream. I want to see him be the best at whatever he wants to be. He wants to see me be the best at whatever I want to be. So, it's kind of like, if you can do that, great. But, you got to walk hand in hand and, go to the top. And that's what we pretty much we did. And I mean, it wasn't an easy road. We lived hotel to hotel. Right. Our kids didn't have stability because, it's not this glamorous life. He got $50 million and we bought a mansion and, no, we lived hotel to hotel. Our kids, this is the longest our children have ever gone to the same school district. Like, it's not as glamorous as everybody sees. It's a lot of hard work. With that career, it's, marriage is a hard, hard work every day.
And that career is short, too.
And it's very, very short.
Did it ever get to a point where, like, I can't do this shit anymore?
Yeah, of course. You feel like giving up sometimes. Like, it's just too much.
Talk to me about that specifically.
It's like, I mean, it's not that I want to give up. It's like, geez, like, it's so many. As a woman.
When's this fucking mediocre motherfucker
gonna make it?
Gonna make it.
Like, gonna stick with a team.
Yeah, it is. It's like, you just.
When's this mediocre motherfucker?
Make it. No, it is. It's like, so how could you think, I know nothing about the league. Like, you guys are dumbfounded by it. I was was the same way, and I was living it.
Right.
And he was too. Like, you learn along the way. You learn as you go. Like,
it's your
life.
Right,
your life is on the line.
It's always fucked up to see, and she saw it too from the female's perspective, the woman's perspective. Like me as an athlete, I always felt like, man, they paid this motherfucker a bunch of money and he sucks.
Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
And here I am struggling and trying to bust my ass and know that I'm a better player and know that I deserve it, or know where it's like, when am I going to get my break?
Yeah, and that's
you know what I
what
mean?
hurts.
And
Yeah.
so she sees it from hanging with some of the wives where their husbands are not like, they're not worried about, oh man, could we get cut? Could this happen to us?
We worried every year.
Yeah, I was worried every single year. Like,
Every year.
there was no stability, and she's around women who look at like, oh, we got stability, this, that, and the other, and blah blah. We got money, whatever.
Right.
And that, I mean, I would imagine it's probably, and I know it was difficult for her, but she never really mentioned it because the thing, like you said, how we, Leroy, how we've been able to do it for so long is because she is like one of those women that doesn't take no shit. You know what I mean? So you're always like trying to do what's best and that kind of thing. Even when you fuck up, you're trying to do what's best, and you know, like, your life won't be the same without her. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so now you know, like, okay, here's my life with her, here's my life without her. So I don't want to be without her.
Pick and choose.
Yeah, right.
And with all that being said, okay, so you get cut or this and what was the pressure like for you? You know, I know good guys, good men want to provide for their family.
Right,
and
yeah.
so what was it like those days you had to come home and say, hey, I got cut, or, you know?
You know what? It was hard emotionally because dealing with the bullshit, like I said, seeing guys playing, but it wasn't really that difficult in home because she was like, all right, well,
she got your back.
Yeah, like, all right, she got my back.
Ooh, I'm about to get up and down.
Like,
you
it was like
how rare
like
that
it was
is?
like it was like on to the next. Like, what's gonna happen? You know, what have you heard anything? That kind of thing. And so it was never really like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna? It was like, all right, we got to just figure out our next move.
And you know what? That's why a lot of marriages don't work that's in the NFL, because these dudes get with all of these chicks that's jersey chasing. They want the money. And when that money gone, because it is short-lived. It might be 4 years. You might be Louis'd out, Fendi'd out, whatever for that year. But when the money's gone, like, what are you going to do? Are you going to still be there?
Right.
Because reality is, it's going to happen. He's going to get cut. His career's going to get hold. You can walk across the street and sprain your ankle for a guy like Jermaine, and you're done. So, you know.
Yeah, I had for me, like, there are a lot of guys like me, we had to play through pain because we knew if we weren't out there, that's our job. Bill Parcells said you cannot make the club in the tub, meaning, like, if you got hurt, you couldn't make this football team if you were in the ice tub and dealing with injuries. So you had to play through shit because you knew, if I'm not out there, they're going to get somebody else to do my job.
That's right.
Right. All right, well, listen. Why don't you fucking wrap this second one up, and then we'll get into the real dirt.
Well, I first off always like to thank my beautiful chocolate and thick wife for coming. She hates when I say it, but I do love the chocolate. I do love the chocolate.
Can you not touch her in front of us?
All right. Let's make us a little bit uncomfortable.
Well, that was Wiggy's World, where shit gets crazy. Another episode. We will catch you next time. Flipside, part 3.
Part 3, motherfucker. We keep saying 2.
Right.
It's turning into 3. It might turn into 4.
Who knows how many? This might be like Friday the 13th. We might have about 10 pods.
Right. But the next one's about the NFL. So
yes,
let's talk
exactly.
about that. We left off you're on the Pats.
Right. How'd I get to the Pats? So keep listening, and we will see you next time. Wigs out. Talk to you later.